Well, hello there, and welcome to Matt's Plot, and welcome to the Polytunnel. On what is currently the hottest day of the year. It's measuring about 25 outside. In here it's about 30, so I do apologise if there's any beads of sweat coming down my head. But I thought I'd do a little special, a little sit-down special today. Seems that it's Mental Health Week. I thought I'd talk you through a few experiences that I've had, how I deal with stress and everything else within my life, and maybe introduce you to a little bit more of who Matt is, and why I started and why I've got my plot. So starting off with the early years, I had a very nice childhood. My mum and dad are still together, loving family, older sister, younger brother, nice school. We lived in Birmingham for a while and then we moved out to the country, which was quite nice actually. No problems with the move, no traumas or anything like that. I'm not trying to audition for X Factor. It was a nice life. Went through a little bit of bullying at school, not a massive amount. I had bright ginger hair, massive big lips. So, you know, I got called Ronald McDonald and I got a little bit of bullying. I had to take a bus into school because we lived in a village outside the main town. So we'd get on the bus and you'd have the hard kids, for use of another word, who would always sit at the back and throw things at you. And because I kind of fitted between the nerdy, clever group and the grumpier, harder boys and girls, I was the middleman. So I'd kind of get a little bit from both, but not too much. So yeah, a little bit of name calling every now and then. You know, I'd get a little dig, but nothing too bad. Nothing to report to say it ever bothered me really. I just knew that I had to get by, and that kind of moulded me into the person that I am, the one that can fit between people. I can talk to a commanding officer, to a member of a board, to a CEO, or I can go and talk to a tramp in the middle of London and have the same kind of conversation and the same kind of respect for that person. So yeah, school was quite good. I left school with not a lot of qualifications really. I think I got a D and maybe a C. I don't know. Not very good at all. The only thing I could do was go to catering college. All I wanted to do though was to join the army. My dad told me I wasn't allowed to join the army till I got a qualification. So I went and did the only thing I was allowed to do because of my qualifications, which was catering college. 2 years at catering college, got a qualification in professional cookery, MVQ level 1 and 2. It was a great 2 years. Loved college, really got on with it. One thing that did happen there is my humour is very quick, very dry, and at times it can be quite punishing. My banter is quite harsh, and I will put people down as well as look forward to being put down. So one day I got called into the tutor's room and said that there'd been an accusation of bullying put against me, which really worried me, because I thought, you know, I'm a nice guy, I'm always out looking for friends, and that again was something in my life that kind of changed the way that I treated people and looked at people. It was one of the guys who was in our class. He was a little bit slower than everyone else, a little bit of a loner. I hadn't bullied him, but a few of the things that I'd said, a few quick-witted comments, had hurt him, had upset him. I requested from the tutor that if the guy and his mother, who had made the complaint, could come in to the college, I'd like to speak to them. They both came in, I sat down with them. The mother was ready to knock me out. I just sat there and I apologised. He said, at no time did I mean to hurt anyone's feelings. I'd been through some bullying of my own in the past, and I was mortified that he felt that way. And we got on very, shook hands. From then on, I looked after him in college and we were friends. Lost touch with him many years ago now. But yeah, it's a big changing point for me for someone to actually say that I bullied them. I was mortified, and I always try to make sure in my life that that's not the person that I am. After college, I decided to join the army. I joined the infantry, a regiment called the Staffordshire Regiment, which was my local infantry regiment. I wanted to join the parachute regiment, but the guy in the recruiting office was a Stafford, and he told me because I was 6'2", I'd be too tall to jump off the back of a Hercules. And anyone that's ever been in the military will know that recruiting staff have a quota of people to get for each regiment per month, and he was down in his rota or his quota. So yeah, I got pushed towards the Staffords, and I went through to the Staffords. I got posted straight out to Ballykinler. Before there, I got attached to a territorial army battalion and did a tour of the Falklands for 6 months, which was amazing. Got to patrol all over the Falklands. This was about 94, 95, maybe 95. So it was fantastic. 6 months out there, then came back to join my battalion, who were based in Ballykinlan, which was Northern Ireland, which was a big turning point for me. It was the first time I'd seen people really hate us, or me, or the army, or something as a whole. And so that really brought my mind around to, how generations affect each other. I was patrolling the streets, I'd have things thrown at me by grannies, we'd have abuse heard at us by men, women, children. It was a bit crazy. I went back there not a few years ago, back to Belfast, just to go and do some hearing tests actually. And what a change. It was fantastic, people talking to you. You don't have to look over your shoulder when you're talking your English accent. But yeah, it's a beautiful place now, and I look forward to going back there again. But in all, I did 3 tours of Ireland, including a residential tour, which was a 2-year tour. Then I went back and did a Rosslea emergency tour, a listener ski. Went out for the riots, so we did loads of good stuff out there. Great place to be. Saturday night on a routine stop and check. You'd stop all the girls going off to the nightclubs, all the boys going to the nightclubs, have a bit of a laugh with them. Yes, all right, so the next day they may be trying to shoot you or throw rubbish at you, but that's their life. Drumcree and all those marches, that's just the way they are. That's their generational stuff, that's what they do for fun, that's their history, and I think you have to be a much cleverer man than me to get involved in any of that. I really enjoyed my times out there, love my time in the military. I think that's what's taught me to be resilient and look at things in a different view, which helps me with my gardening as well, and general life. I have things that grow, things that die, but in the military you have to look at things differently. Is it going to affect me? Is the main aim going to change? Of course it's not. I'm still going to complete my mission, which is to grow some beans. Doesn't matter if the frost has got them, I'll grow some more and I'll get them in the ground. Been great for me, been great for my mental health. So my military career lasted 9 years, just over 9 years, and set me up strong. I was resilient, I was used to being messed around massively, I was used to doing things for no obvious reason, but I also understood the bigger picture, the fact that I was being told to do something that I didn't quite understand why, but I understood that somewhere in the bigger picture it fitted in. So after leaving the military, I went straight back out to war. So when I left the military, I'd gone off with my resettlement money, and I decided I was going to do a close protection course. It was the longest course I could possibly do. It was a month long, so I went off to Hereford, do my close protection course, got offered a position from that out in Basra, working for the Foreign Office, and yeah, it was fantastic. We flew into Basra on the 4th of December 2003, a day after I officially went on to gardening leave. And as we were driving to Basra Palace, there was a couple of dead bodies on the side of the road. There were burnt out motors. It was a state, not what I was expecting coming from the military world. We had tourist maps. We had to go to the market to buy our weapons. It was a little bit crazy. So we arrived at Basra Palace, and from then I absolutely loved it. I stayed out there for between 4 to 5 years, working with different companies in different positions. I ended up leaving as the regional director for Mosul. I worked for a company called Aegis. I had about 120 Westerners working for me, and about 30 to 40 local nationals working for me. The reason I left there really was I was the only non-commissioned officer running a department, running a location. All the ex-officers kind of didn't like that fact and were against it. So I decided not for me, time to come back to the UK, try something different. I then got offered a position as a operations director with a entertainment company, being a food and beverage manager. Obviously because I had a background in catering, I could do it. I was extremely competent and confident operations manager. So I went and did that for about 2 years, loved it, 52 different locations around the country. It was a brilliant time. Bit boring, very difficult working with civilians. They don't work weekends, they don't work after 5:30. And for me being military, I was like, let's just get it done. And it took a long time for me to adjust to the fact that that's the way real life is. So yeah, but everything was fine, my health was good. I had a couple of friends from the military that were starting to show signs of post-traumatic stress. So we're starting to help them and get involved with them. So yeah, it was a difficult time for a lot of people that I knew suffering, but for me, my mental health was strong, it was good, I had some good friends around me, and I was living in a good place. Things then changed a little bit as my life went on. A couple of years later, I met my wife. I lived in a place called Tamworth in Birmingham. I then moved down to Aldershot to settle with her. Thinking, right, what can I do now? 2 years I've been working for that company. I thought it's getting a bit boring. I got a call. Did I want to do some cover work on a client in central London, a high net worth client, just close protection team. The team leader was going on leave. Would I want to go in and take his position? Chatted with the missus. She said, yeah, go for it. So off I went. And literally 18 months later, I got some time off. The thing is, when you work with these people, these high net worth clients, these billionaires, once they like you, they don't want to let you go. It was a very difficult time for me and my wife because, you know, I wanted to do well, I wanted to earn money, but I also wanted to get that balance. So yeah, I had to talk to the client, say, look, this ain't going to work. So he was happy to let me do a little bit less, not a lot less, but a little bit less, and get some regular time at home. I stayed there for another year and a half maybe, and then thought, you know what, I'm going to try something else. A couple of months later I got the call. Another client had asked if I would go and take over their team and sort their team out, so I went back into the fray, back to the close protection world, took over the team leader, again for a client that travelled a lot. I travelled the world with them. I was on super yachts, everything really. Busy job, a lot of stress, good wages, but a lot of stress, a lot of time away. Did that for another 18 months and thought, you know what, it's time to go. Me and my wife then thought, right, let's do it. Let's make the move to the country. Let's get our small holding and make the move. My wife's got a very good job as well. She works extremely long hours, so we thought, right, we need a break. Just as I was about to leave, you know, we were looking at small holdings and going. My wife was looking at new jobs. I sent out a few emails for a little bit of ad hoc work here and there, and there was always two people that I wanted to work for, two big clients. And I just dropped a few emails out. So look, if you're looking for any ad hoc guys, I'm looking at moving away, but if you need a couple of days here and there, let me know. Lo and behold, the company that had my number one client that I wanted to work for got in touch and said, look, we've not recruited for 7 years, but we're looking for one guy to join the current close protection team for this client. Would you be interested in interviewing? Of course I was. Got into the interview, got offered the position, and started working for this family. Extremely rich, high net worth family, homes all over the world, travel all over the world, super yachts, private jets, helicopters, everything you can think of. You think, looking at me now, thinking, wow, it must be amazing. 2 words, it's a golden prison. You're on a super yacht, you're in your room. Yeah, just so happens to be a nice room, not a staff room, but you're stuck in there. You can't go out. You can't go outside and look at the view. You're stuck in your room. You're in a beautiful hotel in Los Angeles, but you can't leave your room. You're on the end of your phone for 24/7, 365, and that's the payoff really from their life. And that I felt then that was really starting to affect me. I get quite dark moods, get quite a little bit of anxiety, but all behind closed doors. You know, I learned very well how to put a smile on. I worked with them for 3.5 years until their lives changed and the job unfortunately disappeared. Then I went on to do some more close protection work in London, and I started to get a little bit more wound up. Those of you that live or drive around central London will understand that there's a lot of pressure driving around London. People are just nuts. You know, highway code is an aide-memoire. No one really adheres to it, no one really cares about it. Black cab drivers will stop anywhere, Uber drivers will just stop randomly, people will drive into you for no reason, pedestrians will walk across the road because they're looking at their phones, cyclists will just ram you basically. It was horrendous, and I was getting a little bit more angrier and more upset, and I just thought, this isn't right. Me and my wife were lucky enough then to have 2 beautiful children, and I didn't want to be an angry dad. So I said to my wife, look, I want to go and seek some help. I want to see what's going on with me. So I went to the doctor. I said, look, I don't think there's anything wrong, but I want to go and be checked out. I want to speak to someone, see what my issues are, see what I can do. So off I went. Because I'm a veteran, I'm priority for mental health chats, or whatever you want to call it. I went to chat to someone on the phone. They said, you're a prime candidate for cognitive behavioural therapy. Didn't know what it is. I had a Google of it, thought, well, I'll have a pop. Went along, NHS, fantastic lady I went and spoke to. NHS, for those of you who've been through NHS mental health services, will know that they love a questionnaire. Before you go, you fill a questionnaire out. Are you self-harming? Are you doing this? And all mine were no. I thought, well, I don't really need this. I'm quite normal. got in there, she got me to do a PTSD questionnaire, and thankfully I haven't got PTSD, nothing like it, because the questions on that, and those people out there who have PSD, my thoughts are with you, because it's such a horrendous thing. Those who've really got it, not the ones that are pretending, but the ones that have really got it, it's such a horrendous thing, and I've got a few friends that suffer with it really badly, and it's completely ruined their lives. And I can understand why so many people do take their life because of it, because looking at the questionnaire, it must be horrendous. I took 5 sessions of cognitive behavioural therapy, and at the end of it, my therapist turned around to me and said, "Do you know what, you're just a bit fed up with people. You just don't like people who haven't got common sense." I was like, yeah, alright, great, thank you very much. I don't want to waste any more of your time or the NHS's time, thank you very much. So I came out of that with a bit of health, I suppose, mental health, but it's just the fact that things wind me up. You know, someone shouting constantly will wind me up. Idiots will wind me up. I don't know if that's because I'm getting older and crankier, but I've started to work on it. I've started to exercise more, I've started to look at some mindfulness, I've started to calm myself, take myself out of situations where the old Matt would have blown up and gone off at someone. I now remove myself and look at the bigger picture and think, maybe that's not their fault. Maybe they're getting grief at home. Maybe they're in an abusive relationship and this is the way in which they can outfeed their emotions. So if you are out there and you are struggling, or you think, do you know what, I'm not like I used to be, I'm not as happy as I used to be, go to the NHS, go to your doctors, phone somebody up, have a chat, and just see. Or just have a chat with someone. I found, to me, just going and being able to moan to a complete stranger like my therapist and just blurt everything out was fantastic. There was no tears, there was no tantrums. I just sat there and said, right, what's wound up this week? This guy pulled out in front of me, this fella just stopped, Uber driver went into the back of my motorbike. I commute in and out of central London every day from Hampshire. There's an hour on my motorbike on the way in, an hour on my motorbike on the way out. And the amount of stupid things I see, I've been knocked off once, I've been hit numerous times. That's another thing that really winds me up. So yeah, it's just calming yourself down, bringing yourself to that point where you think, right, it's not their fault, they're stupid. I think that's the biggest thing. There are stupid people, let them be stupid, keep yourself out of their way. So right now, I couldn't be more chilled. I know we're all a little bit different now because COVID's here and we're all working from home or doing something else. But I don't feel any anxiety about going back to work, doing the commute or anything else. I feel good, I feel strong. The future, obviously my wife and I are looking at starting our small holding soon. That's all on hold at the minute, hence why I'm down the plot a lot more. But it gives me time to plan, to do webinars, to look for different grants, different things I can do, how I can make it better, what else I can do on a small holding, how I can make me better for my family. I spent more time with my children, with my wife than I ever have before. I mean, we've only had one big argument in 9 weeks, and that was because she was working too much. And I happened to voice that, so I'm learning not to voice everything that pops into my head so much. I am getting a semi-filter, which helps, but yeah, you know, you just got to push on, remember the bigger picture, don't let the small stuff bring you down, and just keep moving, you know. And in the future, I'm going to keep that going. I'm going to keep thinking, I'll keep working hard on my fitness, my mental health, and I'll keep you all updated. But as I said, this is very much off topic for me, but I just wanted to let you know everything's good, and I'll speak to you all soon.